Good morning, everybody. We'd just like to bring your attention to our data privacy notice that we'll be reading out for everybody. The De La Salle College of St. Peniel respects your right to privacy and is committed to protect the confidentiality of your personal information, thus has adapted necessary organizational, technical, and physical measures to secure it. DLSCSB is bound to comply with the Data Privacy Act of 2012 or RA 10173. It's implementing rules and regulations and relevant issuances of the National Privacy Commission.
By participating in this video meeting conference webinar, you are consenting to our collection in accordance with the privacy notice. Information also processed via video conferencing platform Zoom. Please refer to their privacy policy at the link.
The information processed, name, email address, your image, video, and audio will be used for attendance, documentation, communication, and systems administration purposes by authorized individuals of the department or office or unit organizing the event and other offices authorized to have access.
We also use information gathered from you for abuse prevention and privacy protection.
DLSCSB shall only retain the said personal information until it serves its purpose, after which it shall be securely disposed of.
Queries and complaints on data privacy can be directed to the Data Privacy Protection Office at dpo@benil.edu.ph.
So we'd like to add, this activity will be recorded by the School of Center Multidisciplinary Studies, or SMS. And we'd like to remind everybody to add your full name when you're joining or if you're already in here. And please keep your mic and video off if not in use to facilitate a smooth and distraction-free program flow.
Let me be the change I want to see. To do with strength and wisdom all that needs to be done, and become the hope that I can be. Set me free from my fears and hesitations. Grant me courage and humility. Give me the spirit to face the challenge and start the change I long to see. Today I start the change I want to see. Even if I'm not the light, I can be the spark and change that begins in me. Day I start, I see the and be the spark in faith, service and communion. Let us start the change we want to see, the change begins in me. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
A pleasant afternoon and welcome to the School of Multidisciplinary Studies, Theology and Philosophy Areas Interclass Ethics Bowl Competition Online Edition. I am Alan Bernardo.
And I'm Rafaela Elaine Miranda, and we will be your hosts and competition moderators for this event.
To maintain the order during the event, we have a couple of netiquette reminders for everyone. For participants, please keep your cameras off and your mics on mute during the event. Kindly refrain from being disruptive in the chat, but feel free to use the chat reactions to root for your teams.
For the contestants, kindly turn on your mics and cameras only when it's your turn to speak. Also, please be mindful of the time so as not to delay the tournament. And lastly, if one of the participants is having technical difficulties, the fourth member of the team has to be prepared to speak on their behalf.
To deliver the welcome message, let us a virtual round of applause to the Dean of the School of Multidisciplinary Studies, a sought-after international scholar and author in the fields of mathematics, Dr. Basilia E. Blay.
Thank you. Hello and good morning, everyone. First, let me emphasize how delighted I am to welcome all of you, iEthics teachers and students. The last 6 terms have been very difficult for all of us. We have all shared uncertainty, fear, and disappointment because of the pandemic. But it did not prevent you and your teachers from coming up with this alternative way of learning. We come together today to showcase what you have learned. I guess this is the first time in Binil to do it virtually, am I right? Second, I would love to see and hear how you defend your position on selected ethical issues and coherently articulate justification using the principles you learned in the past 13 weeks of your encounter with iEthics. And third, I would like to tell you that I have addressed many webinars since this pandemic, but this one is different because this is like an august gathering of great minds. But before I go, let me commend and thank the Teofilo area through the leadership of Sardino and the iEthics teachers for organizing this activity. And to you, our dear students, I can see your drive and passion to do your best. Remember to enjoy and not to be disheartened by failures. By being selected to represent your block makes you all winners. Once again, welcome to the Ethics Ball 2021. My heartfelt thanks to all of you for coming. May the best arguments win. Good luck, God bless everyone, and stay safe. Thank you.
So what's the Benilian Ethics Bowl all about? To give you an idea rather, the Ethics Bowl competition is a public speaking competition that allows Benilian students to speak their minds and offer ethical solutions on pressing and relevant existential, social, and even political dilemmas with spontaneity, substance, sensibility, and teamwork under time pressure.
This morning, we will have the first ever virtual ethics bowl. Having said this, at the end of the activity, the students are able to identify the ethical issues emanating from ordinary human situations, make ethical decisions by appropriating applicable principles, and coherently and clearly articulate their ethical justification.
So before we move on to the competition proper, it's important for us to know the rules and the mechanics. And before we proceed, let us go through them first. Please note that the participants for the final round shall be the ones representing the 5 clusters of teachers. Thus, we have 5 groups of 4 members each. 3 of them are speakers, and the other one will assist in the research and be a backup participant if the other one could not make it.
Right, so let's go through the mechanics. To participate in this Interclass Ethics Bowls competition online edition, one has to be enrolled in iEthics class for the current term of school year 2020 to 2021. The competing groups have been given the list of cases before they went to the final round. The participants of the final round shall be the ones representing the 5 clusters of teachers. Thus, we have 5 groups of 4 students each, and 3 of them are speakers, and the other one will assist in the research and be a backup participant if the other one could not make it.
Okay, next one is before the competition starts, all groups will be sent to their respective breakout rooms. The room assignments correspond to their group number. The sequence and case assignment will only be announced when it's the group's turn to present. Then each is given 2 minutes to confer in their respective breakout rooms while the moderators present the case in the plenary. After conferring, the group must leave the breakout room promptly and proceed to their moral evaluation and discussion of the case within 5 minutes, to be followed by an interpellation by a designated judge for another 5 minutes.
Which is followed by 7. The whole procedure is repeated for all the participating teams. The judges shall determine the score of each team according to the competition criteria. And lastly, after the deliberation is done, the top 3 winning teams shall be announced, and the decision of the Board of Judges is final. So I will just go through the criteria for judgment. First one will be ethical relevance. Number 2 will be clarity and intelligibility, deliberative thoughtfulness, depth and substance, and lastly, team spirit. In the event that in case of a tie, the team which has the higher ethical relevance score will be the one given credit. Now that we have heard the mechanics and the criteria for judging, let me introduce to you the members of the Board of Judges who will help us ensure that the selection of the most deserved speakers.
For a short bio note for the chair of our Board of Judges, Dr. Alma S. Espartines, she is a woman academic from the College of St. Benilde in the University of Santo Tomas. She's a graduate of AB Philosophy at the University of Santo Tomas, and she finished her MA in Philosophy and PhD in Philosophy in the same university. A Fulbright in Residence awardee in 2010 to 2011, she taught ethics and philosophy of the human person at the Dominican University of California for 1 year. She's an author of 4 textbooks: Big History, Logic, The Art of Reasoning, Becoming a Human Person, and Logic and Ethics. In June 2017, through the CHED IDIG, Dr. Espartines led the 10-member Big History team to undergo training in Big History Institute of Dominican University of California. As a CHED CBIE scholar, Dr. Espartines underwent 1 month's training in Canada, sponsored by the Commission on Higher Education, Canada Bureau of International Education, from June 24 to July 21, 2017. Dr. Espartines is currently the research coordinator of Domain 2 of School of Multidisciplinary Studies at CSB.
Juan Rafael Macaranas is a full professor at De La Salle College of St. Benilde in Manila. He has been teaching philosophy and theology subjects for 28 years. He finished his Bachelor of Philosophy in 1984 and his AB Classical and Licentiate of Philosophy in 1986 at the University of Santo Tomas. Faculty of Philosophy, Ecclesiastical Faculties. He holds 3 master's degree: Master's in Philosophy from USC Graduate School, Master's in Religious Studies from Mary Hill School of Theology, and Master's in Music from UST Conservatory of Music. He earned his PhD or doctorate in philosophy in De La Salle University, Manila in 2000. His research interests includes theology, philosophy, ethics, and music. He is currently the chairman of the Board of Governors of the Philippine National Philosophical Research Society, the managing editor of its publication, Philosophia, International Journal of Philosophy, and a board of director of the Union of Societies and Associations of Philosophy in the Philippines.
Last but not least, our board, one of the members of our board of judges is Dr. Antonio Levy S. Ingles, Jr. He is an educator and has been teaching for almost 30 years. He has been a professor of religion at De La Salle College of St. Benilde, Manila, for 24 years, where he also served as a president of the Faculty Association from 2015 to 2017. He earned his Doctor of Philosophy in Applied Cosmic Anthropology at the Asian Institute in 2011. A founder of Aral Pinoy Org, Inc., and in the year 2017 was a Green Company of the Year finalist at ADEC Innovations Asia CEO Award. He is a leader and a mentor for Climate Realty Project 4 and an author of the book, The Easefulness of Life in 2017. Is everyone ready? Let the battle begin. At this point, may we request groups 1 to 5 to please be ready.
We are now opening the breakout rooms. Can you please proceed to your respective room?
All right, I think everyone is in their respective rooms. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon you will be hearing 5 teams of 3 students. Throughout the competition, they will only appear on the screen when it is time to deliver their speech.
Our student speakers will be introduced by number only. After the teams are given their question, they will have 2 minutes to prepare in their designated breakout rooms. Afterwards, they will present their moral evaluation and discussion of the case within 5 minutes. to be followed by interpellation by a designated judge for another 5 minutes. Here are the list of cases that could come up in the final round. So there are only 5 teams. So we'll only be able to talk about 5 of these topics. And we'll read the cases. We'll read the case for group 1 in a little while.
So, Miss Rafi, this is quite a very exciting, momentous event for the college and for everyone here. So, again, this will be the first time that we will be doing this. So, I hope everyone will be, kindly participating to it. Kindly root for the team that of your team. So feel free to use the reaction buttons. So feel free to do that.
You're right, Sir Alan. I can't wait to hear them, discuss all of these, very important things and share their own ideas about issues that matter to all of us.
Exactly. These are relevant issues, if anything, especially now more than ever. And we would definitely be excited, I myself am, to hear the thoughts of the students regarding these matters.
Yes, sir. It's really exciting to know that people can be engaged and involved even if we're, in our respective bubbles in our homes and we're still locked up because of the virus. But this is a really good opportunity as well for us to connect to each other and connect to society at large through discussing, things that matter to all of us.
Exactly, exactly. Despite us being, as you mentioned, being in our own bubble, we can definitely still talk about it and be able to share our thoughts so we can also make a positive change towards our society.
We now have requested Group 1 to proceed to the main room. I think they're here right now. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I think the 2 minutes is up. It's over and our group is back. Teams, kindly give me a signal if you're ready, and I will lead you or I will read you the case for examination. Please check if you're, by the way, please check if your video and microphone are on. So as to you'll be able to formally present it once it is your turn.
We are ready.
We're already ready. Yeah.
Okay, so all right, that's good to hear. So let me read the case for you. Defending National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict. In April 21, 2021, the Philippine Senate called for a zero budget for NTF ELCAC in 2022 and to reallocate its current funds for other purposes. This call to defund the NFT ELCAC was triggered by the alleged red tagging of community pantry organizers, particularly Patricia Non. By task force spokesperson Lieutenant General Antonio Parlade, Senator Richard Gordon described the profiling and red tagging activities of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict as imbecilic, stupid, and shameful. So the question here is, given conflicting opinions from both sides, should NTC ELCAC be defunded after Lieutenant General Parlade red tagged the community pantry organizers? What ethical principles support your position in this red tagging incident? So your team now has 5 minutes for your case presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning to everyone. So here is our stance. So there has been a surge of red tagging cases from the police within the country, and it's already been a prevalent issue even before the anti-terror bill had. So these incidents would follow a pattern wherein the police could just simply arrest or punish, or in worst cases, kill citizens simply because they think they're a part of a communist group. That is the power that the anti-terror bill has given to them. So, in the case of community pantries, they commit such actions with false accusations to the organizers. And given this pressing issue, it becomes clear that the task force is not really doing their job efficiently. So, as people who hold such dangerous power, they must be careful, cautious, factual, and critical in convincing suspects of communism. So, red tagging innocent citizens should not come off with no consequence, obviously. And it is a punishment that leaders and officers who commit such crimes should be either replaced, arrested, or depending on the severity of their actions. So the NTC elect should be defunded, at our stance basically, because since it is unfair and inefficient for most of the funds to solely go into that one department, and there should be an equal distribution of funds amongst the departments. So especially in the time of the pandemic, there are more departments that deserve or need more funding, such as DepEd, DOH, and DOLE. By providing them more funds, they can have more resources to make online learning more accessible and efficient, give more people opportunities to have financial aid, have more resources for our frontliners and doctors, and also have more resources to put more effort into battling the spread of COVID-19. And next, we'll be stating the ethical principles.
Okay, for the ethical principles that would support Sophia's statements, first is the virtue ethic for respecting others. So how that would support our stance or the case brought up by Sophia is that life should be respected by just people have the moral obligation to respect human life. They should not harm others with simply because they think that they have done wrong. They should be, if people have done wrong, should be punished or should have just punishments for their actions. They shouldn't be punished for because of false accusations or due to like just because they think, because they aren't critical of what wrong that they have done. And there is also the theory of deontology, which explains that man shouldn't be treated as merely a means to an end. They should be considerate of their human life, and they should be respecting the human autonomy. The police should be respecting the human autonomy of the people that they pursue. And there is also the case of accountability, wherein
for committing such actions, they have to take responsibility for what they did. They have to be aware of the power that they hold, and they have to be cautious and careful when pursuing suspects. So, following the conclusion.
And to end with our conclusion, it comes to the point of the community pantry organizers should not be ragtag because they have been doing a noble and just deed by supporting the community, by providing resources to people who need it. By taking this away, then the people who have been struggling during the pandemic, particularly with food and money due to the unemployment, will not have a source of support. Now, following the theory of deontology and the following ethical principles, uh, it is a just point stance that we treat people as merely as not merely as a means to an end, but the end itself. And that is our conclusion.
Okay, so I think this group is done with their presentation. So thank you so much for a well thought out presentation. Thank you so much, Group One. So let us now proceed to the interpolation. The judge who will scrutinize the group's case. I'm giving the floor now to the judge to interpolate. Thank you so much.
Would you like to remind me of the two principles that you apply in this case number 5? So you mentioned about two principles,
Yes,
ethical
we have.
principles.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the first one?
Respect for others. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the second one.
In the theory of deontology,
Okay.
the categorical imperative. Yeah.
Okay. So would you
As well as the
again
accountability as well.
review?
Mhm.
How did you apply the first principle?
In regards to respect for
The
others,
first principle.
since yeah,
Can
respect
you
for
hear
others.
me?
Yeah. Yes, po. Hello.
Hello po. Rinig po kayo. Hello.
Okay. Do we review po the first principle?
Yes.
Okay.
Start with the first.
So there, in regards to respect for others, since there,
Respect.
yes. So in the case kasi of the NTC and the ELAC are doing, since there have been multiple cases of red tagging, falsely like accused innocent citizens, right? When you are red tagged, you are then derived from a lot of your personal property. And with regards to that, because if you are falsely accused of being a communist, then parang they're taking away all of your rights. So parang in regards to that, we want to keep that respect for others kasi yun nga, it's already in this case that the police are allegedly abusing their power because they've been given power with the anti-terror bill. So that's why we want to keep that principle of please respect others and also keep that in mind.
In line with
then
this,
in
in line with
the
this,
ontology.
yes, we need
do you
to
want to
treat.
go
In
later?
line with this, we wanted to put up with the treatment. We wanted to emphasize on the treatment of that all people should be treated with equal rights, and regardless of sex, race, or national origin, or their ideas that they have. So moving on to the theory of the ontology.
Okay, so the whole categorical imperative in the formation of humanity and autonomy, treating man as not a means to your end, but the end. So we all know that in this theory that each person is used in a specific way. And from what we can connect from both of these like theory and then the problem, like let's say the police want to gain power, and in order to gain power they must persecute quote unquote like citizens to demonstrate or to feed into that power. So in regards to that,
Okay.
to continue what she has to say.
You are
To and
treating, so
I
No,
you,
Nathan,
you
go.
lagged a little bit. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Yung deontology, it is by treating individuals as not merely as a means to an end, and by red tagging this, it is by red tagging, it is action of taking away what could be and could be taking away the goal of community pantries to support the community by donating their food and resources.
Okay.
And moving on to the accountability part.
So I'll go back to the first question regarding the funding, no? The National Task Force to End Local Families Armed Conflict. Remember? So now, the question here is it justifiable to defund? Meaning, will defunding deter the NTF LCAC to rent tag like a community fund? Do you think that would be? Do you have any idea about deterrence? Okay, will that deter? No, the NTF LCAC, okay, from red tagging a community pantry organizer because it's about, let's say, how many billion budget? 16.5 billion. Okay, so would you care to answer that? Will that deter them or will that stop them to red?
Uh,
That's for the first question.
I would say it will serve as a punishment, given the time.
Thank
Do
you so
we
much.
answer po the question? Or no?
Okay, okay. Anyway, it's already time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ingles, and thank you so much, Group 1, for your wonderful presentation and response. And now we're going to give Group 2 2 minutes to discuss amongst themselves the case that's assigned to them. Okay? So, yun. While we wait, kumustahan naman tayo dito? Since you have 2 minutes to, we have 2 minutes to wait. So I'll start. Sir Alan, kumustahan?
I'm doing good.
That's
How
good.
about you?
I'm doing good din po. Kumusta po yung lockdown dyan sa inyo?
Yeah, we tried to when it comes to the lockdown, I had to prepare a couple of days back to prepare the food to secure that because when it comes to that, medyo ano kasi, limited talaga yung movement, no, when it comes to going out. And of course, limit mo din yung sarili mo to go out there because it's gonna be difficult to go out there, no? So I hope everything's going well then dyan sa area nyo. I hope everything is okay.
Yes, sir. Thankfully, I'm home in the province. I've been home since the beginning of quarantine. So I've been here for more than a year. I'm in Rizal. And here naman po, it's not that hectic because I'm, along the far end of Rizal. If you've heard of Tanay,
Okay.
it's like there's nothing different here from the past few weeks because there's just two like two little cases, of course, even if there are a lot of people. Yeah, but I prepared before I went grocery shopping already. But I'm wondering, what about our co-faculty? No? Kayo po, kumusta?
Oo
How
nga.
on your end? Ayun po. Yan.
Sa mga co-faculty namin po na how is your lockdown life? How are you adjusting to it? Feel free po to share with us.
We are giving 1 minute to the second group to rejoin the plenary session.
Okay, so 1 minute. For our co-faculties, please feel free po to share your experiences during this lockdown while preparing for it po.
Okay, maybe I can share. I've actually moved. I used to be in the Taft area. I've moved out. I'm now in the Green Hills area, still working with CSB, but just living close to my parents because they're old, they're elderly, and they need support. So yeah, but the lockdown is troubling. Yeah, I don't know how strict the implementation will be. But otherwise, okay. Yeah.
Thank you po, brother.
Bigger
Thank you
place
for
to roam. Yeah.
Thank you po, brother, for sharing your experience. Anyone else po, if that who wants to share?
Maybe, sir, they can share in the next rounds as well because we have a
Yes.
couple more.
We now have the second group
Okay,
in the
so,
plenary. Hall.
Okay.
thank you, sir.
Thank you po.
So I'm gonna read the case for the second group. So the title of the case is The Future of Work. We are entering an era of occupational transition. This may be promising for nations thriving even during the pandemic, but the other way around for most third world countries, the Philippines included. With the current status of the global economy, the world is becoming less inclusive for everyone. If this situation continues to happen, no jobs will be immune to the post-pandemic industry. Lower income individuals will continue to look for another job to survive the economic fallout. The short-term consequences were sudden and often severe. Millions of people were furloughed or lost jobs, and other rapidly adjusted to working from home as offices closed. This then entails shifting careers would become more challenging as jobs that require more people interaction will take longer to recover or worse diminished, not to mention the competition and the limited jobs available in the market today. So the question is, do global leaders have a moral obligation to protect the social fabric for people to withstand the era of occupational transition? What are the moral implications of automation in the future of work? Group number 2, please check if your video and microphone are on, and you may cue when you want to start.
Ready. So, as companies embrace job automation, jobs are enhanced and created. But many low-skilled workers are slowly being displaced. The area of occupational transition creates an ethical dilemma in a sense that automation leads to job loss as technology is slowly dominating the workforce. Although it improves businesses, the human workforce is slowly diminished.
From a utilitarianist standpoint, the increase in automation is beneficial to society as it leads to more effective and efficient production, increasing the profits and output of the companies, and also increases the tax gained by the government. Additionally, it only sacrifices the few employees to help the many.
Kant's formula of humanity in the second section of Categorical Imperatives states that we should act and treat humanity always as an end and never as a mere means. This means that global leaders have a moral obligation to protect the social fabric for people to withstand the era of occupational transition. Automation should enrich human lives and livelihoods, but it should not totally replace them. Socially responsible automation is grounded on the principle that humans will and should remain critical and central to the workplace of the future, controlling, complementing, and augmenting the strengths of technological solutions. Humans are rational and autonomous beings and should not be diminished to just being mere workers replaced by technology.
And with that being said, as long as automation is treated as an assistant and not as a replacement, any ethical problems are addressed. Automation is ethical as it serves as a tool to help others, and as opposed to replacing them. It helps the workers, not replacing them. And it obeys Kant's formula of humanity, and it follows utilitarian perspective. And despite the existence of automation, global leaders are challenged to strike a balance between automation and valuing human labor. That's all.
Thank you so much, Group 2. Now, to move to the interpolation from one of our judges, any of you or any of our dear judges can start.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations. Okay, I prepared a series of questions. No? The first one is, driven by the desire to apply ethical principles, would you take extra steps to turn the occupational transition or work changes into opportunities that are more exclusive, that are more inclusive? Inclusive meaning sharing work, employment opportunities, less work displacement. You can answer. You can now answer, please. I can't hear it. Okay, if you cannot.
Sorry, can you repeat the question po?
Okay. Driven by the desire to apply ethical principles, would you take extra steps to turn the occupational transitioning or work changes in opportunities that are more inclusive? Inclusive meaning sharing work, employment opportunities, and less work displacement. Okay, my second question, have you noted good models of business or work set up in the new normal? Explain how they demonstrate ethical sense.
Hello po. Pwede niyo
Yes.
po ba i-repeat yung question? Medyo nagcho-choppy po kayo.
Okay. Okay. Considering, okay, this is my last question. No? How could business ethics help you, the youth, the student, in facing the changing work environment?
I think business ethics can help the students understand thoroughly more the changes that we encounter, especially during times like this, like the pandemic. It could help us understand more how to handle situations that aren't really being taught in like normal classes. So I think business ethics can help enhance our knowledge with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the last question, no? Lockdowns, like what we are experiencing, prevents most people from doing their work. Could you justify if using the ontology, duty or moral obligation, or teleology, consequentialism? Kindly expound this case. how would you explain deontology or teleology during lockdowns?
Okay, thank you so much, Group 2. And thank you for our judge, Sir Maharanas, for those questions. Yeah. Okay, so we have another 2 minutes while we wait for Group 3. So maybe what we can do is maybe we can have a prompt for everybody in the room to answer. Maybe we can do a prompt like, what is your new quarantine hobby? And then anybody from the faculty, and if the students who want to talk about it, want to share their new hobby during quarantine, you can just unmute yourself and then share to everybody here what you're doing this quarantine.
Because we have a lot of time, especially now in the time of the pandemic. And yes, it is not the best of times, but we make do with what we can, and to keep us busy as well, to keep our mind off things. So yeah, for the faculty and for students as well, feel free to share whatever you're doing, hobbies, interests that perhaps you retook, or perhaps you revisited past hobbies. Feel free to share it. Use a chat box. We'll be more than happy to read them aloud. Or you can use your microphone to share it with us. Both for faculties and students. Feel free to share with us.
So we have around 2 minutes since the third group is still preparing.
Mhm.
So, yun po. We have time. So here, Ma'am Janina in the chat said that her hobby was checking final assignments and requirements.
Yes. Does that count as a hobby though?
Pwede naman po.
Naman po, ma'am.
Lifestyle na siya.
Pwede pong i-consider naman po yan.
Hanggang hobby, it's still work.
Work is life for Ma'am Janina.
True.
Buhay ang Netflix.
For Sir Benny, buhay ang Netflix na. For Aaron, one of the chats here, to be more diligent son to my mom. Wow, very commendable naman from Aaron.
Yes po, Sir Alan, siguro tawag nun. Kasi nung pre-pandemic pa lang po, di ba, we are working po talaga, no? Nagtuturo po tayo, talagang focus tayo sa mga estudyante. But I think the lockdown revisit again our family life po, no? Our family life na maging balance. So, ayun po.
Yes po. So, mas pinapagbuklod po tayo, no? As a family when it comes to the pandemic. So, very nice po to hear that story from Sir Aaron. And then for Sir
I'm
Carl,
improving to be a good son po.
the same goes for everyone din po. So sana po, no, lahat tayo maging good son and daughters. And then one comment also here from Sir Carl. Same here, checking activities and requirements. So work is life then for Sir Carl.
And feeling ko, sir, work is life talaga sa karamihan po sa atin. And here, Ma'am Elma said she tried the ukulele. That's
wow.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Ma'am Elma. So very interesting ukulele. I hope I had the time then, no? to learn a new instrument. For Sir Nick, the pandemic especially, so last na siguro muna to, no? For Sir Nick, the pandemic, especially the lockdown, has given me the opportunity to be able to transform our home into house church, which is we emerge into scheduled prayers and virtual liturgies, especially virtual masses. Okay, so naging ano naman si Sir Nick, no? So he used this place, no? It's time to connect better with God. Oh, very interesting. Okay, so I think
For group
the
3 now is now in the
okay.
plenary hall.
Okay, so thank you for everyone who shared. So group 3 now is already here. So I just want to check group 3. I hope kindly check if your video and microphones are working. And I will be presenting to you, or I will be reading to you the questions or the case for you. So I think it's working naman. So let me try to read out your case. So ICC versus Duterte. Can the President of the Philippines be jailed for crimes against humanity? Lawyer Nery Colmenares believes that the case filed against President Duterte before the International Crime Court is strong enough to convict him for human rights violation over his administration's bloody war on drugs. The ICC's preliminary examination focused on the crimes committed when the President Rodrigo Duterte took office in 2016 until March of 2019. In the context of the drug war, particular allegations that Duterte and senior law enforcers actively promoted and encouraged killing suspected drug abusers and dealers. They said they found bases that murder, torture, and other crimes against humanity were present in the government's anti-drug program during the first 3 years of Duterte's presidency. While some of such killings have reportedly occurred in the context of clashes between or within gangs, it is alleged that many of the reported incidents involved extrajudicial killings in the course of police anti-drug operations. So your question will be? So the question is, should the Philippine, sorry. Okay. Okay, so the question will be, okay, so let me try to read that aloud again. The court is, sorry about that. I think there's an error. So according to the official website, the International Crime Court investigates and were warranted thrice individuals charged with the grievous crimes of concern to the international community: genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and the crime of aggression. The court is participating in a global fight to end impunity and through international crime justice. The court aims to hold those responsible and accountable for their crimes and to help prevent these crimes from happening again. The court cannot reach these goals alone. As a court of last resort, it seeks to complement, not replace, national courts, governed by an international treaty called the Rome Statute. The ICC is the world's first permanent international criminal court. So for your questions, I just want to point out, do you think that this case filed with the ICC against Duterte will bear fruit and end in a conviction amidst the counter arguments and evidence presented by the Philippine government? So you have the floor. Thank you so much.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm present here today. So for the past years, Filipinos have been very much aware on the government's war on drugs campaign by the current administration. And they claim it to be something that is successful as it eliminated already a lot of drug users. However, the elimination process has been very inhumane. It was very cruel, and this has marked Duterte's extrajudicial killings, killing without due process and killing without justice. Obviously, this has affected human rights in so many ways. If we are going to look at it, killing isn't the best solution to the war on drugs campaign. Now that the ICC is going after the current government, the government has been very efficient in showing their counter arguments and proof that they did not violate any human rights. However, they somehow refuse to get investigated. So for this case, our stand is yes. We believe that this case will bear fruit and end in conviction amidst the counter arguments and evidence presented by the Philippine government.
Now, let us talk about the possible pros and cons of these ethical dilemmas. If we were to say to convict President Rodrigo Duterte, The pros would be the justice for the families who were victims of the war on drugs, a safer place for Filipinos for those who might have been susceptible to the policies of the president, and will otherwise improve on the image of Filipinos in international mindsets as it shows that we are willing to punish those who are unbecoming. No, the only con in this would be Philippine sovereignty can be undermined due to the intervention of an outside international organization in national politics. Now, if the president wasn't convicted, the only pro here would be the Philippine sovereignty cannot be undermined, and the only con, possible continuation of abuse of authority. The possible option here, if they are really not guilty of the accusations, they should allow the ICC to investigate.
By killing the drug users, they think that it will be for the benefit of the majority, but in reality, it isn't. We should value human life over anything else. We can relate this case to the Nicomachean or Aristotelian ethics. This ethical principle emphasizes how a well-ordered state should function as a help to individuals to progress from worse to better, then from better to best. And according to Locke's social contract theory, the people's partial freedom must be sacrificed in order for the government to enforce laws and rules that uphold peace and security. However, when the very government that is supposed to protect the people turns on them, then the government shall be overthrown, and a new one shall be put in place, as the state is morally obligated to uphold the peace between communities. Thank you. That's all.
So I think the group 3 is done with their presentation. So thank you so much for your presentation, a well thought out speech. So may we try to invite over the judge who will be doing the interpolation. So I think it's Dr. Alma. You may have the floor now and present your questions.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks, Bridget, Jerome, Kyla, and Prince. Alan and RE, just in case I become choppy, just let me know. Okay, so these are my questions. Group 3. Okay. You are in favor of ICC interfering with our justice because of the arguments that you presented. Am I right? Did I get you right? Okay, so you're nodding. So that means that you are in favor of that. My question is this, no? An ICC investigation, Bridget, Jerome, Kyla, and Prince would say to the world that the Philippine state, our government, which is Asia's first democracy, cannot be trusted to do its duty in protecting human rights at home. Moreover, it would also say somehow that our Philippine government cannot or is not likely to render fairness and justice for these atrocities. So why not just allow our Philippine government to do its duty rather than allowing ICC to interfere? What do you say to that?
I would argue that for a case such as the one that you explained, there would be a rather complex system and process in how to properly give what is due to someone according to their actions, especially towards the president who was told to have political immunity. Ultimately, regardless of how this process will make work, we believe that in this Nicomachean ethics, where the goal is to achieve happiness, to determine how to best achieve happiness, the people and also the government would find the best solution in reprimanding the president for what he has done.
So you would still be in favor of the Philippines being subjected to ICC rules instead of doing our own inquiry and investigation here. Right, Jerome? That is your argument, right?
Supposedly, because I don't really value, it's not that we don't value pride, but we do value happiness in the situation.
But you mentioned also Nicomachean ethics, which has something to do with happiness. Will it render us happy knowing that we will be subjected to ICC rule instead of allowing our government to do its job?
I'd like to add, Miss. In all due respect, with all due respect, by allowing the ICC to investigate our own government, it would be beneficial to the people. We all know that the extrajudicial killings of our current president are well known for the whole nation. We are the ones upset by it. And of course, the people look up to our own government. Our own government is doing this to us. So how could we, with all due respect, how could we trust them to process what is right and wrong when the people see what is clearly wrong? So an ICC investigation into our own government will be beneficial for the people, not for the government, but for the people. Yes, our sovereignty may be undermined, but at the end of the day, it's a win for the people. So I think the ICC should be allowed to investigate further into our case. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Prince, for that. And you mentioned that our sovereignty will be undermined because somehow we'll be subjected to ICC rule. But will our sovereignty be undermined knowing that sovereignty is accountability after all?
To be fair, Miss, I would take my freedom over the Philippine sovereignty any day. Freedom for the people is at most the best for the whole nation.
No, Prince, actually, I'm defending your sovereignty, saying that it will be undermined. It will not really be undermined at all because it's accountability, right? So that means that all the more should we allow ICC to investigate us.
Yes, Miss.
What do you say to that?
I agree 100%, Miss. The ICC should definitely be allowed to intervene into our national politics regarding the extrajudicial killings of our current president. Thank you, Miss.
So I have 12 seconds left. Quick answer. So should Duterte really be penalized for this war on drugs?
Yes, Miss.
No?
Be found guilty.
No further question. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. Thank you so much for the presenters and Dr. Alma for the presentation. So thank you so much. So I think we'll be inviting over. So we have 2 minutes again to wait for the people or for the other group to be presenting their case.
So we have 2 minutes while group 4 prepares for their case, and we have another prompt prepared for everybody.
Wow.
So if we're talking everywhere, we're talking about hobbies and we're talking about the now. But for everybody in the room, where would be the first place that you're gonna go to when the pandemic ends? I'm not gonna say when quarantine ends because that's we don't know if it's gonna be really okay when restrictions are lifted. So I'm using the term when it's all over. For me, I would go to the beach. Oh, like Sir Benny here would also go
Sir
to
Benny.
the beach. About you, Sir Alan, and everybody in the room. Where would you go?
I definitely would be visiting my family because it's been more than a year, and they're from Rizal as well. So I haven't been to Rizal in more than a year now. So definitely be visiting my family. But for recreational purposes, the beach as well. The beach is muchly needed. We have here for Mom Gina, church and bass. For Sir Carl and Pan to get a St. Peter's plan. Naghahanda na si Sir Carl. For Miss Janina, Japan. Okay, wow. I hope. Oo nga. Sama mo kami, Miss Janina. For Sir Aaron, I'll be doing a Visita Iglesia pilgrimage with the family after all this. Oo nga. Sama-sama tayo dyan. For Sir
Can I share
Nick,
something?
just go ahead po.
Hello, can I share something?
Yes po.
This is about the in the chat box when I read the chat of Sir Nick Fungo. If Sir Nick's home transformed into a house of prayer. So definitely the families living there is a good example of a holy family living in that house. Sir Nick, huh?
Nga po.
Uh, Now, before this pandemic, August 6, or before ACQ, the Archdiocese of Manila already announced in advance the ACQ, in all of its churches within the Archdiocese of Manila. Obviously within, that's the city areas, includes the city of Pasay, Manila, Makati, and Mandaluyong. So, meaning all masses all in live streaming. Kaya I'm planning to leave early morning kasi my reason is that for this live streaming masses, kasi I'm one of the music coordinator in one parish, just a walking distance in St. Benil. Kaya my concern is in the checkpoint area. The PNP allow me to my ID, as music coordinator in the church.
30 seconds.
Hopefully, Sir Carl, they'll allow you to pass through.
That's my concern lang.
Nga po.
just
Basta
sharing
ano po. Sana po talaga padaanin kayo, no? Dahil may reason naman po.
Kasi the
valid
last time
reason.
ECQ, they allowed me to
Hopefully the same din po ngayon. Kung
I don't
may
know
proper naman. Sana.
baka it's
sana
more
nga po.
strict here.
Yun lang, sir.
We now have our participants in the plenary room.
Okay. Thank you for those who shared. Ms. Rafi?
Okay, so the case for the fourth group is refusing a COVID vaccine. The science of moral decision making, which provides several reasons people might choose to not be vaccinated, studies normative questions of whether a particular course of action is ethical or unethical. This is a broad category that focuses less on distributive policies, but more on what degree of freedom should be granted individuals when it comes to refusing or accepting vaccine. A great number of Filipinos are still unwilling to have themselves vaccinated against the disease. The survey conducted from January 26 to February 1, 2021 showed that if a safe and effective vaccine were available during the polling period, the greatest majority of respondents at 46% said, "I will not have myself vaccinated." The survey released on Wednesday night, February 24, also found that only 19% of respondents said they would have themselves vaccinated, while 35% said, "I can't say," if they have themselves vaccinated. And this is a report from Rappler last February 25. The fear stems from some report of blood clot after being inoculated, or even some reported deaths even after the second dose is administered. The question is, should Filipinos be allowed to refuse vaccination, or should it be made compulsory in order to attain herd immunity? What ethical principles will support your position? And you can cue us, Group 4, if you're ready to speak.
Hello. Can we start na po? Okay. So at this time of the pandemic, being vaccinated is the least that we can do in order to protect ourselves as well as others. That is why we highly encourage for everyone to be vaccinated in order to attain herd immunity. But some individuals still have doubts and don't want to take vaccines, and they just have the every right to refuse so. So good day everyone, we are Group 4 and we'll be presenting our case.
For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. At this time of pandemic, being vaccinated will give a huge advantage. Not only will it keep you from getting and spreading the virus that causes COVID-19, it will also help keep you from getting seriously ill, even if you do get COVID. Lastly, getting vaccinated yourself may also protect people around you. This goes side by side with the principle of beneficence, as we must take positive steps necessary to avoid harm. Refusal to be vaccinated could lead to danger to your health as well as those people that surrounds you. That is why it is highly encouraged to be vaccinated as we are amidst a pandemic. But if the vaccination were to be made compulsory, then it would go against the principle of respect for autonomy. This principle is about how we have an obligation to respect the autonomy of other persons. which is to respect the decisions made by them concerning their own lives. The rights approach states that the ethical action is one that best protects and respects the moral rights of the affected. Each person has dignity based on their human nature and should be granted the ability to freely choose what they want to do with their lives. In connection with the case, this supports our conclusion that Filipinos should have the right to refuse vaccinations because it is their right to do so. However, they must be aware of the consequences of their course of action.
All that being said, instead of the vaccination being made compulsory, it should be highly encouraged, as Filipinos should still have the right to refuse vaccinations, as everyone has freedom of choice and it is up to them if they would endanger their health or not. Granted, the refusal is consequently a detriment to those affected by the virus.
That is all for our case. We are ready for the questions.
Thank you so much, Group 4, for your cases and your discussion. May we now call on Dr. Macaranas to interpolate your discussion.
Hello, everyone. Just be cool, relax, and enjoy. No? This is sharing, no? Sharing of knowledge. No? Okay, my first question is, some people who refused vaccination cite autonomy as their defense. Autonomy is self-rule. In Kantian moral philosophy is the capacity of an agent to act in accordance with objective morality. My question is, would you agree on the applicability of autonomy as a moral principle in this case? Anyone can answer, please.
I believe that autonomy is their right to do so, and it's an element of the individual being that would consider their own rights and reasons to have their own delegations of free will. In all aspects, it's they have the freedom to do so as things like that. But however, we should take a step back and observe their actions have consequences reflecting on other people's belief on the matter of the COVID vaccine, and that it will be a benefit to their own right for everyone else to improve the daily lives of everybody else.
Thank you. My next question is, which is more important, respect for autonomy or public safety, or both? Would you answer differently during the time of pandemic and normal times?
I believe we wouldn't change our stance on the vaccination. I feel like it's like a more of a humanitarian belief to do the right thing and serve the betterment for all, to take the vaccine, because one step can go a long way to help others who are extremely affected in this case. And even if it's not COVID-19, you could still be pushing away dangerous diseases and harm, like polio, for instance. We got rid of polio, and thanks to like the power of vaccine and people taking it, we've sort of improved. And this could be applied the same thing with COVID-19.
Okay, thank you for that. My third question is, if you are a government agent, which would you rather use in convincing people to be vaccinated? Deontology, duty, moral obligation, or teleology, consequentialism? Would you explain this, please?
If we were government employees, we would be deontological by promoting like responsibility. We wouldn't be mandating it, however. That would be a different conversation as a whole, but sort of we would encourage and inspire others to be responsible with with themselves, and encourage them to take the vaccine and show them the benefits of what they can get, and that they're actually helping others instead of being affected by themselves. It's a risk that's really beneficial for everyone else.
Thank you so much. May I encourage also others to answer. The last question. Before vaccination, the patient needs to sign a waiver that whatever adverse effect that occurs due to the vaccination is the sole responsibility of the person. What ethical virtue is the government promoting in implementing this measure? Alternatively, what ethical problem or what ethical burden is the government avoiding? I listen to others, please.
Again, sir, what was the question again?
What ethical burden is the government avoiding?
I think the ethical burden that the government is avoiding, that they would be held responsible for the action of these citizens of the Philippines.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Macaranas, and thank you, Group 4, for your wonderful presentation. Now we have our last set of 2 minutes for Group 5 to prepare their speeches. And last prompt, I guess. What are some of your quarantine realizations? So I think I saved the best one for last. Don't you think that's the best one, Sir Alan?
Right.
Yeah. What are your quarantine realizations? Siguro I'll start. For me, I realized that I'm not that introverted, I guess, because the last year and a half of being in quarantine has made me really miss seeing people and being with people. And all this time I thought I was very introverted and I liked my alone time. It turns out that there's too much. There can be too much alone time.
I
Is that
see,
you,
I see.
sir?
Yeah, then for me, siguro on the lighter side of things, I realized there's a lot of ways you can cook egg. So I tried different ways of cooking egg. So given the pandemic, limited talaga yung movement. So I tried different dishes. So I'm the one who's cooking here. So I tried different ways to cook egg. So let's move on to the comment section from Doc Alma, brevity of life and ephemerality of earthly things. Heavy, heavy stuff. So we are reminded of our transient existence, I guess, when it comes to our stay here. From Sir Aaron, prayer life and well-being. Prayer life and well-being realization. From Sir Leo, the traffic in Metro Manila can be solved if we consider more work from home arrangements, even post-pandemic. So yeah, I think that's a wake-up call for everyone, not just for the people, but also for governments and I guess for companies as well. So kaya pala, no? Kaya pala na to do these jobs, work from home setting. From Ma'am Gina, there is so much room for learning in something new and focusing on the essentials. We have to go back to the essentials, back to basics, as everyone puts it. From Sir Nick, the importance of creation and that it needs rest and break. Exactly. And then from Elma, from the Elma, time is of the essence. All right. And then from Marilyn, stay positive in life. There's Sir Aaron, unleashing of one's potential. Okay, so there's a lot of realizations, some heavy, some light. So it's really good to see and hear, from our faculty that they themselves have these realizations.
it's kind of like most of them are happy things to hear because despite how problematic, troubling, and scary these times are, people can still be positive and look at and appreciate the small blessings that come our way. There's so much.
Exactly.
30
Exactly.
seconds.
30 seconds. There's so much to be thankful of despite everything that's happening. And it's good that we get to see the negatives and positives of this pandemic. And hopefully in the future we can apply the things that we've learned, so as this wouldn't happen again in the future, hopefully.
This is a once in a lifetime thing. We've lost 2 years.
Exactly.
2 years of our together time, in this world.
Exactly. So I think, is everyone here? The last group to present?
I think we should give them like another 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no problem with that. Okay, here we go. Hopefully
they're here.
Will be here. Okay, they're here now, sir. Okay. All right, so for the final team that will be presenting, kindly check on your microphones and your cameras if they're working properly. And then I'll be reading aloud to you the case that you will be tackling and the questions alongside with it. Okay, so your case will be the world of women academic during the pandemic. Health crisis such as the COVID-19 pandemic we are currently experiencing have gender dimensions. An argument sensibly affirmed by Bancori in 2020 in his recent article. The Never-Ending Shift, a feminist reflection on living and organizing academic lives during the coronavirus pandemic, about the lives of women academic during the pandemic. Female academics disproportionately struggle when boundaries between home and work blur. Concerns about the warped boundary between home, space, and workplace, childcare, job shift, and collective sense of time are looming large as the pandemic extends longer than expected. These married female academics who are taking care of children know what it is like to parent a young child, let alone parent during the pandemic. Their sudden full-time childcare, full-time teaching duties, and full-time household chores may be accompanied by anxiety about how they will juggle their life's endless work shifts. Academic mothers, since the enforced lockdown due to COVID-19 crisis, have become apprehensive and burnt out. They've been pivoting, they've been juggling academic work and childcare, they've been worried about life, and men seem not to care. So your question is this: how do we solve the problem that is the academic mothers during the pandemic? What solution do you propose to help them in navigating their professional career and personal life? What ethical principles can you invoke in supporting your position? The floor is yours, group number 5. Thank you.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone. It is our pleasure to present a signed case in the presence of today's participants and Board of Judges. To start, we must acknowledge how this problem did not just exist during the ongoing pandemic, but as yet another byproduct of the long history of gender oppression and marginalization. It has been an issue ever since women were allowed to work, and that is another problem in and of itself. Therefore, in the light of feminist ethics, the most productive way of finding solutions is to understand, criticize, and correct.
So good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure. So first and foremost, we must understand that nothing should be gendered. Work should not be gendered, and women should be allowed to choose their role in society, be it homemaking and the workforce, or both. And when they choose, they should not be shamed for whatever their decision may be. There should be an open and honest dialogue among society that household work should not just be expected from women who are held at much pressure of pursuing motherhood at some point in their lives. Otherwise, they will be referred to as damaged goods, which is in and of itself another problem. Because why exactly are women seen as damaged goods when they don't choose to be mothers? Why are they expected to be mothers in the first place? And secondly, we must also criticize the lack of regard that society has for these specific events, especially the work industry, wherein the welfare of their workers are compromised for a battery of institutional goals and desires. We expect women as a society to be good and responsible mothers, yet we don't support their needs when they choose to do so. Perhaps this is an area that we can all improve in. For example, laws that provide mothers with paid maternity leave should be reevaluated because at present, there's a maximum of 105 days of paid maternity leave in the Philippines. And is that really enough to ensure both mother and child are happy and healthy? How about paternity leave? Shouldn't men also be a part of taking care of their new child and taking care of the vulnerable new mother? And so, one of the proposed measures in supporting these academic women, which we believe are very noble, is to give them support in terms of financial assistance. Perhaps the employers can take the initiative of giving them less workload, because in one way or another, the employers should take the initiative in ensuring the welfare of their workers and by giving them an effective and safe working condition.
And with that being said, it leads us to our last point, which we must correct this perspective of the issue. Why is that the problem is being viewed in a way that puts academic mothers in the wrong when they are doing the most of their families and society, and non-active fathers are quote unquote allowed to get away with their lack of contribution in the house? Why are men excused from this moral responsibility and women are being held accountable for the men's lack of action? We have to think about why this question
was phrased in such a way that allows the assumption that burdens of emotion in the family should only be shouldered by mothers, because it exposes an even deeper problem of internalized misogyny and systematic patriarchy. We have to ask ourselves why this is a problem in the first place and why men are allowed by societal standards to be absentee fathers and women are not even allowed to make mistakes and be human. We must learn to see each other as human beings deserving of equitable care and attention, regardless of gender, and moral accountability should be held at equal weight for both men and women. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think the presentation of the last group is done. Okay, so may we call on Doc Alma for the interpolation. So thank you so much for your presentation. Did I get that correctly? Is it Doc Alma's turn?
Hi, good afternoon, Group 5. Alan and Ori, please tell me again if I become choppy. Okay, so I listened to your arguments. They're well presented. Now, my initial comment, easier said than done. What you're telling us is easier said than done. You know, there are several companies, even universities, that might not accept women, especially if they're pregnant, knowing that there will be 120 days for them to take maternity leave. So while you're saying, hey, give them more months to take care of their children, that isn't the case. So women will still be discriminated against. So how will it work?
Thank you very much for bringing that up, Miss. And while studying this case, we did have to acknowledge the reality of our women today. And that is why we wanted the general tone of our case to present how women are marginalized for these very specific and also, if you will, absurd reasons in the special case that they are pregnant. And as you said, we totally agree that it is easier said than done. And that's why we wanted to present our case in light of feminist ethics, wherein we are guided by three concrete solutions. First, as we said, we must understand, because what better way can we find solutions if it's not by education? And that is to understand that there are a lot of things in our system today that needs to be altered. And so the next step we can take is to criticize. As you said, you pinpointed what's wrong with the limited, or how it is generally accepted that these women are only given a limited time to heal in pregnancy. And lastly, of course, is to correct. Given that we have understood through education, we were able to acknowledge those mistakes. Next thing is to correct. These are the legal actions that we can take. And of course, with the governing authorities who have direct connection with the legislative systems, we can find and we will find concrete solutions to this kind of problem.
Also, in addition to what Vin said about legislation, may I just also mention, because it is worth mentioning about the single mothers who are also more affected. Even though there's no pandemic yet, they are mentally, physically pandemic due to the double responsibilities. And with the laws given to them and programs like even students made programs like what I have experienced, we have already informed a barangay, particularly in Pedro Hill, and that I think is a significant and a starting point on how to help mothers get away with this discrimination and other abusive system made by patriarchal system.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that information. Okay, now, do you know the status in the Philippine Academy that professors, women professors, have more than units, academic units or teaching units, than professors from foreign universities? In the Philippines, professors carry like 18 to 27. In other countries, it's just like 12 to 15. Did you consider that in your presentation, that somehow women academics here in the Philippines are really troubled? They carry so much burden, considering that they teach and they take care of their children, and sometimes they take care of their husband as well.
Well, for one, we truly appreciate that input. We will be frank and honest, though, that we did not find much research on the Philippines alone, which is also alarming and thus a wake-up call for us to give more attention to the women of the academy here in the Philippines. But we did get statistics from US universities wherein they claimed that universities are predominantly dominated by men in terms of research and publication, which is often favored by universities, whereas women occupy the smaller population of teachers and mentors that are of less importance to universities. So with that said, there is already an evident power imbalance when it comes to these kind of services. Thus, we must find a way to hold in regard women in academy at a much higher importance. And as I close, since I only have a few seconds left, I just want to remind everyone, we all have mothers. And of course, before every woman becomes something else, they become a mother of their children. And we know how much of a noble job our mothers have and how they should deserve whatever kind of compensation they need to get.
There you go. So thank you so much, Dr. Alma and the presenters. So that is our final presentation. So thank you so much for the presenters, not just for Group 5, for everyone who presented, for all our judges. Thank you so much for participating in this one. So just to for our closing. So thank you for your intense and thought-provoking ethical discussions, participants. I'm sure that your well-prepared speeches wowed the viewers and judges. We'll be giving the judges around 5 minutes to deliberate, which would also be an opportunity for everyone to take a short break. Okay, so please be back in 5 minutes for the announcement of winners. So Ms. Rafi, that's a very heavy discussions, no? So very interesting and very engaging. Everyone from both the sides of the faculty and sides of the students.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it so much, sir. And I didn't realize that it was already time. Time flies when you're having fun, nga, diba? That's the thing that
Exactly. Mm-mm.
And it really helped me learn as well. Even though I'd like to think that I'm like politically informed, because those are one of the things that I'm currently engaged in, some political work. It's still, it's still very humbling to hear and listen to all these ideas and perspectives from other people.
Mhm. Exactly, and we do appreciate everyone who participated in this one, both for the students and for our judges. So thank you so much for finding the time, to actually show up for this one and share your thoughts and ideas. And it's interesting to note as well, like even as you mentioned, even though we are already immersed in this political, socio-political issues, it's interesting to see how the students voice out their own thoughts regarding this one, because now more than ever, I think the students, can there are different platforms for them to actually speak up and have their voices heard.
Were actually in one of the political engagements that we do, a lot, or like 90% of the volunteers that are there, they're all students. They're very dedicated to the causes that they're volunteering for, to the extent that they really give so much time to do write-ups and make creatives, and even moderate pages for some causes. It's just so amazing, and it gives me so much hope, especially now that we're about to make a big decision for the state. We're about to start voting again, and it's just so, I don't even have the words for it. It's so enjoyable, wonderful to see that they care, that they if our students are enough of a demonstration na that they care about the world, that they care about society, and that they care about the decisions that are being made.
Exactly. And their voices and their thoughts and ideas are not just well thought of, right? So what they presented, and I'm pretty sure that it voices out their different opinions and their ideas regarding these matters. So thank you again. We just want to thank everyone. Congratulations as well for presenting all your ideas, and also thank you for our judges. So we have, I think, Ms. Rafi, we can ask our faculties and students again, no, what we're waiting for. I think for those who are here, those who did not take their break. Perhaps we can go back to the questions we've had earlier, and we can also discuss itong chat box natin. I think that some people actually share their thoughts now with the previous presentations.
Yes, sir. Also, like Sir Alan and I would also like to thank our area for thinking about wonderful activity, for broadcasting it to people who can listen to it, for the college's support. That it's really nice to be here and to discuss ideas that matter. Thank you for everyone who congratulated our students who did such a good job, the college, and even us for congratulating.
Thank you so much for everyone. For those faculty, no, thank you, Ms. Rafi, for those who took their time to actually organizing this event, for all the judges who participated, making this in the area. This is our first virtual ethics bowl. So of course, definitely, there's a lot of things that we will be taking from this event, and hopefully naman, no, the people who are viewing this either through YouTube or those who are participating in the Zoom call, I hope everyone is having a fun time. Again, this is we are at most, yes, this is a competition, but of course we want everyone to have a pleasant time as well while being part of this competition.
So let's go back to our students and our co-faculty. Are there any insights you'd like to share from the event? I see in the chat na there are already a lot of people who are happy about our students' progress, but what about our students? How did you feel?
For the students naman, on the student side, how do you find this setup, and how do you find yung mga sagot din, I guess, ng mga students, and the overall conversation that we're having? Feel free to chat in the chat box. if ever you have something to share, and we'll be more than happy to read it aloud so everyone can see or hear your thoughts and ideas. So I guess while waiting for the students' input on how they feel about this situation, I guess we just have to. I'll just be reading a few comments from the comment section. So for Sir Carl, he's trying to congratulate everyone, for both participants and the teachers, for the first virtual ethics bowl. For Sir Leo, he's quite impressed with our students' progressive views, like we mentioned earlier, on current ethical issues. So congratulations. From Brother Michael, congratulations to all the groups. So he's sending his regard. Sordino also congratulates everyone, for the entire group, for the presenters. From Sir Nick, congrats to all students, participant. Good work, well done, and the insight. And then thank you, ayun, thank you for everyone. And then from Group 3, a big thank you to the facilitators and the judges, and congrats to all the groups. Okay. So time check, Sir Benny, how much time do we have?
Are we now ready with the announcement of the winners? We have all the time, actually.
Yes.
No worries. No worries.
No worries po. Hindi po kami ng pressure.
Hopefully, when we do this again next year, it doesn't have to be online anymore.
I hope, exactly, Miss Rafi. Hopefully by then we will be having a face-to-face ethics bowl again. So like much we did before. I think some of the students, I think one of my classes as well, they haven't been to CSB, like their first time. I was asking them what place would you visit first once everything is settled. A lot of them said CSB because we haven't been there yet, like physically been there. Oo nga, sabi mo mga student talaga who wasn't able to come to school yet. But I hope, despite this is the setup, I hope that you are enjoying your stay, and I hope you are learning a lot as well from your professors and from your other classmates as well.
It's so hard to build like a sense of community, no? Gantong we haven't met each other. Even I myself have not stepped foot inside campus yet for official things. So
exactly.
I get the kind of the longing to be there. And ayun po, I hope na we can all be there and see each other face to face, because it's so hard that you might run into your students at some point, but then you wouldn't recognize them because they don't turn on their cameras when
exactly
class.
That's one of the concerns ko din, no? Baka may student biglang lumapit na magkamusta, and then I will like, sorry, baka isipin nyo, suplada kami. But sometimes hindi lang din namin familiar with the faces since it's an online setting na been for a while now. And then, but one thing to note, the Benildian spirit is always there in the classroom. So that's one thing to note, and that I'm very happy to be part of, is that the sense of camaraderie, the sense of togetherness, even though we are apart when it comes to our lessons, our meetings or sessions like sync meetings, pero yung Benildian spirit is always present. So I'm really happy to feel that and to be welcome or to be part of that community.
Me too, sir. That's so true. Benild really does so much to make everybody feel included, even if we're all far away. Even having masses for everybody to congregate together, it really means a lot. Especially like from a point of view of us people who are longing for a community.
It's a wonderful thing that despite everything that's happening, we as a community is still there for one another. So yung sometimes kasi, especially in the isolation, nakakatakot, nakakapangamba, on top of all the anxieties that we're feeling. But it's good to know that we have my Benildian family always there. This goes for both, I guess, for both students and for both faculties and all the associates in the college. So I'm very thankful and thank you po. Gusto ko lang din po magpasalamat for everyone who has been part of this journey. So I'm sure everything will hopefully in this few weeks, few days, years, months, everything will settle down.
That's true, sir. And here we have a comment from Nathaniel. He says
Mhm.
that it's a good opportunity to be able to continue learning, even in an online setting. Hopefully, it would benefit everyone as the situation continues. Hope so too.
Yeah. Yes, exactly, exactly. Thank you for sharing that one, Nathaniel. Now we are all given the opportunity, and yeah, it definitely will be a benefit for everyone as the situation continues. That you're right in that. Okay, so anyone else who wants to share? For the board faculties and for students, the floor is open po. Whatever you want to share about your realizations, perhaps about your hobbies that you're doing during this pandemic, especially the lockdowns that we're currently in. So we have a comment here. Please go ahead po.
I think the committee on tabulation of results are now ready.
Okay. Okay, there you go. So I think everything is ready na po.
Okay, so for the announcement, welcome back everybody. If you took a break for the much awaited announcement of winners, we would like to hand over the spotlight to Sir Aldino Gonzalez, our dear chair. Take it away, Sir Dino.
Okay, good afternoon. The campus of De La Salle College of Saint Benil has come to life again. We hear voices of our students, and I'm sure my colleagues, my fellow teachers, have been missing all of you, our dear students. Wishing you all of us, all to be in campus. But of course, nothing can stop us from doing our jobs, being teachers and students. We can still make noise, relevant, significant noise online. Thank you very much for all the participants. Okay, I'm ready to announce the winners. And after this, we will acknowledge. Okay, so after this, we will ask Miss Jenny to present the certificate of appreciation for those people who work hard in this particular event. Shall we give the floor first to Miss Jenny, and then after Miss Jenny would read the certificates of appreciation, then I will announce the winners. Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Jenny.
Thank you very much, Sir Dino. We will award the certificate of appreciation to our Board of Judges first, and then later to our participants. So the certificate reads, the De La Salle College of St. Benilde School of Multidisciplinary Studies, Theology and Philosophy area awards the certificate of appreciation to our Board of Judges, Dr. Alma Espartines, Dr. Antonio Levy Ingles, Dr. Juan Rafael Macaranas, in grateful acknowledgement of their expertise and invaluable contributions as judges in the first Benildean Virtual Ethics Bowl final round on August 7, 2021 via Zoom. Signed, Mr. Aldino Gonzalez, Chair, Theology Philosophy Area, and Dr. Basilia E. Blay, Dean, School of Multidisciplinary Studies. Thank you very much, Board of Judges. And let me also read the certificate of participation to our students. Our student participants are the following. Let me read their names quickly. Nathaniel Joseph Cinco, Gabriel Maxine Gao, Sofia Rabago, Francis Sabado, Paulette Constantino, Christian Eli de los Santos, Katrinka Lara de Vera, Paul Vincent Florendo, Prince Alfred Dale de Llosa, Kyla Cresley Bolabos, Jerome Francisco, Bridget Pia del Rosario, Isabel Marie Sharot, Christian Derek Samoray, Angel Faith Almario, Maria Lauren Therese Yu, Maria Sandra Abanto, Daniel Jesus Escana, Pauline Ariane Panganiban, Ian Vincent Gina, and Brian Vincent Uy. All right, this is your certificate. De La Salle College of St. Benil Student or School of Multidisciplinary Studies, Theology and Philosophy area awards the Certificate of Participation to student participants for competing in the first Benildian Virtual Ethics Bowl final round on August 7, 2021 via Zoom. Signed, Mr. Aldino Gonzalez, Chairperson, Theology Philosophy area, and Dr. Basilia E. Blay, Dean, School of Multidisciplinary Studies. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss Jenny. Okay. This is what we're waiting for in this competition, the announcement of winners. All of you deserve a big round of applause. Can we have a virtual clap for all the participants? Very good. Now, I'm going to announce first the third placer. We prepared a small token to all of you, by the way. The third place will receive a certificate and a small token, a small cash incentive for all of you participants. The third placer will receive 2,400 GCash, okay, to the group. The third place will go to group number, wala tayong sound, no? Walang drum roll. Okay, group number 4.
Number 4.
Okay, congratulations. So our group 4, congratulations. That's Isabel Marie Ciaro, Christian Derek Sumoray, Angel Faith Almario, and Maria Lauren Teresa Yu. Congratulations. Now the second runner-up, the second place goes to group number second place, group number 3. Congratulations. Group 3 are Queens Alfred de la Deliosa, Kyla Bulabos, Jerome Francisco, Bridget Pia del Rosario. Congratulations. Okay, that's group 3. Now, for the champion. Yes. The champion for the first Virtual Ethics Bowl CSB 2021 goes to Group 5.
Wow,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Group 5, Maria Sandra Abanto, Daniela Jesus Cana, Pauline Arian Panganiban, and Brian Vincent Uy. Congratulations, everyone. And keep talking, keep articulating, and keep being sensitive to what's happening around us. That's the point of ethics. That's the point of education. Let your voice be heard. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Dino. So congratulations again for group number 5 and for all the participants, not just group number 5 and for those who won the first, the 3 positions, but for everyone who participated. Congratulations again.
Yes, thank you so much for everybody who participated. Congratulations to everybody. Even if some of you didn't get the place, it's okay. It's still a valuable discussion to have, and we're so thankful that you were here to share your knowledge with us.
Miss Rafaela.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that those who did not get the place will also receive a small token from the area. You will be receiving a cash token amounting to 1,200 per group. Okay. The first place will get 4,000 for the group. The second place will get 3,200 for the group, and the third place will get 2,400 for the group. The fourth and the fifth will likewise will also receive 1,200 per group. Plus, of course, a special certificate for participating in this competition. Thank you very much. Yes, back to you, sir.
Ayun. So every participant will be having their own certificates and their own tokens. So congratulations again for everyone who participated. And again, so thank you so much for everyone. So for the final and closing remarks, may we call on Sir Rayuel Rito Senyo to deliver the closing speech and event evaluation reminders to the participants. Sir Rayuel, go ahead po.
Thank you, Sir Alan. Good afternoon to all. Please bear with me. This closing remark will not be long. Whether you be here in Zoom or on YouTube, I hope you realize the following. First, there are a lot of ethical issues today emanating from ordinary day-to-day experiences, situations, whether they be political issues we read in the news or personal situations at home or in the workplace. Second, when we make ethical decisions, we have to follow certain principles or guidelines and not be arbitrary, too hasty in our judgments or course of action. And third, I hope you saw the power of correct and truthful human articulation. That is, if it is done in the right and organized way, with the right intentions and for the common good. Without doubt, the person who is more convincing and who wins the argument is not someone who is only good in articulation and public speaking, but someone who is well prepared and have true and good intentions. Indeed, it is a complete package. That's why here in Binild, you're being prepared for this and even more through the Binildian expressions of the Lasallian core values. Namely, to be God-centered, to be with integrity, to be socially responsive, to be creative and innovative, to be professionally excellent, to be appreciative of individual worth, and to be one with the plight of the poor. Congratulations to all the winners of the first Virtual Ethics Bowl. I also congratulate all the professors who were behind your success. On behalf of the Theology and Philosophy area and our chairperson, Professor Aldino Gonzalez, we would like to thank everyone who made this student activity a success. Animo Binild. And of course, on the next slide, we would like to present to you. You can, of course, either use the link or QR code to access our feedback form in evaluation. So you can type, maybe someone can type and place it on the chat, or you can use the QR code on the right to answer our feedback form and evaluation. So all the students of iEthics are required, of course, to answer this feedback form, because the list will be, of course, sent to your teachers. Sir Alan and Ms. Rafi, back to you.
Okay, thank you po, Sir Rayuel. So again, a couple of reminders that Sir Rayuel gave us. So for all the students, kindly po, try to accomplish this evaluation or feedback form. Kindly use the link. Hopefully someone will be sharing the link in the comment section. There you go, Sir Ingles. Sir Tony, share the link. So kindly accomplish that one. Or if you want, you can also use the QR code. Okay, so again, thank you everyone for those who participated, for our judges and for our speakers. So thank you so much. Ms. Rafi, do you have final notes po?
I just like to say thank you as well to everyone. I can't stress enough how educating that whole experience was. And, it's such a wonderful dynamic to see that even us adults, even us teachers can learn from each and every one of you. It's a very beautiful, humbling experience. And thank you for gracing us with your beautiful ideas.
Exactly. It's really heartwarming as well, to hear from our judges sharing their questions and, the overall exchange between student and professor. So that's very heartwarming and enlightening. So thank you everyone for participating. Again, congratulations for the winners. So that wraps up the Benillion Interclass Ethics Bowl Competition Online Edition. So once again, thank you everyone for participating for today's competition. So I think may photo session pa no before this. So
Yes, sir.
for the teacher, professors, or for the students as well, I think. So wag muna tayong mag-leave ng session. So kindly open po for everyone to open your cameras po no for the picture taking. I think Sir Benny or Miss Ira ata who will be doing the photographing of the event. So kindly open lang po no for everyone your camera
Yes.
so makita po tayo for the event. Miss Ira, go ahead po.
Saan pin din po pala kami ni sir para kita
Oh,
po.
baka kami lang makita.
Okay.
Thank you po.
Okay, on my cue, wear your best smile. In 3, along with Miss Ira. In 3, 2, 1. Nice. Okay, one more. One more. One more. In 3, 2. Sorry. All right, ready? In 3, 2, Waki! Yay! All right, thank you very much.
Ayun. Thank you so much.
Thank you po.
Congrats to everyone.
Thank you. Thank
To
you.
the fourth, congratulations.
Thank you po.
Group 5 and Group 2.
Ayun po. Thank you so much,
Bye.
everyone.
Congrats. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
teachers. Thank you, Brother Mike.
Thank you po.
Congratulations.
Thank you po. Please support your team next week.
Judges.
Vlog.
The deep
Racing ko nga
dive.
next week.
Think din po pala plugging for the next event for I think that's for
Please
August
vote.
11.
Yung sa link po.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Alan.